I'm enjoying it much better now that it's
Oh,
not.
yeah, we watched it all last night and we didn't have a problem.
Yeah,
So
me too. I
it was good.
finished all of the Heart Guy.
Oh,
Oh,
we still
you
have a way to
finished
go.
it?
No,
No.
not yet.
Okay.
We only watch one episode every couple of nights, so
Oh, okay.
we don't do them one right after the other, usually.
It's a good show.
Suzanne, do you have travel plans? Are you going down to your sister?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
Okay, I was going to wait for Rachel to join us as well, so.
Hi.
Hi, Rachel.
Hello.
Hi, Rachel.
All of a sudden, I was looking at something on the computer, and all of a sudden, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock. That happened.
Rabbi, it was a beautiful service this morning. The children did beautifully.
Thank
And
you.
Josh's voice was wonderful. It really was.
You trained them well.
Yeah. So, and it was nice for the class to be able to be together, for the kids to be together. Somebody got a picture of them outside with their masks on, but all of them together.
Yeah,
Because they hadn't been together except virtually since March.
right.
So we're going to start, and I decided the story for tonight that I was going to do is an Elijah story. Every so often I've done Elijah stories because, just a second. Okay. Anyway, I like to do Elijah stories every so often because we sing Eliyahu Hanavi at the end of Havdalah, and while Elijah is supposed to bring about announcing the perfect world, the coming of the Messiah, and is supposed to be at our Seder table, Elijah is attributed for many, many stories of meaning, of miracles, of lessons and teaching and things of that sort. So I figured I would share an Elijah story tonight. So the story was written or put to words, at least it was probably told a bunch of times, but Rabbi Alan S. Mahler put it together, and the title he gave it is A Pair of Amens. So there was a king who had a daughter who was very ill, and the doctors could not help her. And she dreamed that if she ate a pair of very special pears, that she would get well. But she did not know what would make them very special. She would have to meet with each person who brought them in, and her mother, the queen, declared and decreed that whoever brought in the very special prayers that healed the princess would have the opportunity to marry the princess if she wanted to get married. So hundreds of young men brought baskets of pears to the princess, and she talked for a long time to each of the young men, and she ate their pears, but none of them made her feel any better. So there was one farmer who had very sweet and juicy pears, as well as 3 sons. So he told his eldest son, who was the most handsome of the 3, to take a basket of pears and bring them to the princess. So on the way to the princess, this handsome son met a dwarf who related how hungry he was. And the dwarf saw the basket and said, "You must be taking pears to heal the princess. Please give me a few pears so I will not starve." The handsome son didn't want to give away even 1 pear, especially to a dwarf. He was afraid that any 1 pear given away might turn out to be a special one of the pair that would heal the princess, and he would lose his chance to marry her. So he said to the hungry man, "The only pears I have in this basket are pears of pig's feet, and they are not kosher for you." Now the hungry man, who you probably already guessed was really the prophet Elijah in disguise, replied, "Amen, so shall it be." And then he walked away. And when the handsome son was brought to the princess, he opened his basket to show her his pears, and it was filled with pears of pig's feet. The princess fainted. The king ordered the eldest son to be thrown out onto the street. When the handsome son returned home, he didn't tell anybody what happened, just said that the pears didn't work. So the farmer then decided to send his middle son, the one who was very tall and had lovely blonde hair, to bring the farmer's best pears to the princess. So on the road to the castle, the tall blonde son also met Elijah, who was disguised this time as a poor beggar who was deaf in one ear. The blonde son also didn't want to help the man, even though he seemed very hungry. The tall blonde son told the deaf beggar, "I can't help you. The only pears I have in this basket are pears of pig's ears, and they are not kosher for you." So Elijah said, "Amen, so shall it be." So when the tall blonde son went to the princess, he opened his basket and it was filled to the top with pears of pig's ears. And the princess threw up, and the king had the blonde son thrown out the window into the street. And when the blonde son returned home, he also didn't tell anybody what happened. Now, the youngest son wasn't very handsome, and he wasn't tall or blonde, but he was very kind and very considerate. And he begged his father to let him go because he wanted to help the princess, although he didn't think she would want to marry him. So on the road to the princess, he also met Elijah, disguised as a beggar with ugly sores and scabs all over his face and his arms. He felt sorry for the ugly beggar, and even before he was asked, he offered half of the pears in the basket to the man, saying, "I pray these pears help you." Elijah smiled and replied, "Amen, so shall it be for you." So when the youngest son opened his basket before the princess, she asked why it was only half filled with pears. So he told her about offering half of the basket to the beggar who was covered with scabs and sores, and the princess began to cry. He apologized for making her cry, but to his surprise, she suddenly hugged him, and they spent the whole day talking, and the princess felt better and better. By the next day, she was feeling great. And a week later, she told the youngest son she wanted to marry him, and that's what she did. The boy's father could never figure out what was special about the pears that the youngest son brought to the princess. But I know that we all understand what it's all about. Good story for an Elijah story?
There are so many stories, not just Elijah story, where there's 3 sons and it's always the youngest who does the right thing.
Well, all the rest, there's the whole levels of tzedakah, and if you give without being asked, it's also much more significant than you wait to be asked, but turning them down each time too. So I thought in our world, it's always good to remember that kindness makes a difference, and is what we need to remember along the way. So we're ready for Havdalah, and I just want to put the blessings and things in the chat box. So one moment. Okay. So we're ready for lighting the candles. So we sing together. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim. I wanted to share and tell you that this spice box was given to me by Rabbi Dick Sternberger, who was the regional director of the Union for Reform Judaism for the Mid-Atlantic region. When I was in Virginia Beach, he gave it to me when I was ordained, said it would be something I'd have use for in my years in the rabbinate. So I think of him when I use it. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei haesh borei meorei haesh ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ben or lechoshech ben yom hashvi'i לששת ימי המעשה. ברוך אתה אדוני המבדיל בין קודש לחול. And as we ask God to give us understanding, to reject the unholy and choose the way of holiness throughout the week, we ask God, who separates the holy from the profane, to inspire us to perform these acts of Havdalah and many other mitzvot in the days and weeks and years to come. Ready to put the candles out. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimera v'yameinu, Yavo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. I ask you all to unmute so we can sing Shavua Tov together, or as together as it is, almost like repeat after me, but we get to hear our voices together in song. Shavua Tov, 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 a good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase, a good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase. We wish everyone Shavua Tov, and we'll be here same time, same place next Shabbat as well. We'll do this on the Friday nights until Slichot, which is the 12th, and then we'll have a different program that evening and not be doing it this way at this time. So